All right. We are back for Roundtable Ravens episode 8, I believe it is. We
Wow.
had to jump back on and do another episode this week because we just did actually episode 7. Yeah, that was just the other day that got uploaded and is out there. But after an exhaustive search, the Baltimore Ravens now have their new head coach and former Los Angeles Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter.
Welcome to the flock, Jesse Minter.
Yeah, honestly, we were talking about this in the last episode, talking about how he was perceived more of the favorite. And it appears that that is how the Ravens organization saw it as well. It makes
Hmm.
a lot of sense that Jesse Minter was hired. From what I understand and what I was reading, is the Ravens had no intention of moving quickly, but I guess the Raiders were very interested, and there was talk amongst ownerships or whatever in the in the ethos of where we're not at. And apparently, basically, what happened was the Ravens realized they needed to jump quickly and to bring Minter in. Um, it was it was kind of now it makes more sense because he had a second interview lined up with the Cleveland Browns, canceled that,
Yep.
and funny enough, that's the second interview that got canceled for the Browns there. Um, so
Those poor Browns can't catch a break over there in Cleveland. They're
I
like,
mean,
no one wants to come here.
it's similar in as the Dolphin situation, except for the Dolphins are more of a premier place to go play, as the Browns, the Cleveland area is not. Don't hate me, Cleveland Browns fans.
Poor
I'm just
Cleveland.
saying, like they have
Cleveland
a very
catching strays.
they just have a similar situation. Like their quarterback
Yeah.
room is a mess. Like they have Miles Garrett, of course, but like other than that, I don't know. They might be in a way better cap situation too. I don't know the details, so I'll just stop it there.
Yeah.
The point being, the Ravens moved quickly and they brought Minter in. Honestly, it was a little shocking in how quick that was announced because usually it's like you got the beat writers that are ones, or you got the insiders are the ones that like breaking news, Minter is hired, but like the Ravens were already ready with their statements. They were already ready with the graphics.
Yeah.
Like they were ready to go.
I wonder
And
if they decided before Minter even they were
I
like,
mean,
Jesse, this is how you find out. No, of course not. But like it would
yeah,
have been funny.
no, 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 that
They
would have been
locked the
funny.
doors and were like, Jesse,
Yeah, you're
guess
not leaving. Yeah,
what? You're gonna
yeah,
leave.
yeah, you're not leaving. No, that's kind of what I read. Kind of what happened. They had him there. They didn't let him leave, which is the usual case for like when they want like that's exactly what the Giants did. They took John Harbaugh out to dinner and then they didn't let him leave the state of New York. They were like, "You're staying," and now he's the new head coach.
Come
So
sign that contract.
we did talk about how there was a little like fear of them potentially missing out on a really good candidate, potentially if they took too long.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this was a move of desperation, more so how I
Mm-mm.
said that Titans felt a little bit like that. I felt that Minter was their guy all along, but they were doing due diligence with the other people, like Anthony Weaver, who was also a great candidate, and I still think that he may end up somewhere, potentially, maybe even on Jesse Minter's staff. We'll see.
Come on
Um,
home, Anthony.
yeah, but yeah, it did not feel that way. I feel like that was their guy from the jump, and they were just waiting to get these other like top candidates out of the way, in the sense that they wanted to interview those before they knew for sure that
Yeah.
Jesse Minter would be the guy.
Yeah. Eric DaCosta said they ended up interviewing 20 candidates.
Whew.
So they did their exhaustive search. They
Yeah,
really dug deep. And I think Anthony Weaver went in on Tuesday and Jesse Minter went in on Wednesday. And probably after they were probably likely their top two candidates and then were just feeling it out through Thursday and decided Jesse Minter just was the guy. And it seemed like maybe his plan was just topped Anthony Weaver just a little bit. I really did think it was going to be between one of those two. They seemed the most familiar with our culture, being having been in the organization before. So not really a surprise, but definitely surprised that it came through like on Thursday morning, Baltimore
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
they must have already made the decision maybe when Minter was in the building on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. Like I said, it came so quickly and in a way that normally it doesn't. Like usually it's the NFL insiders that get leaked that information, and then way later you get the statements. But the Baltimore Ravens are like, here's the graphic, here's Minter's statement, here's Bishadi's statement, here's Eric DeCock. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's going
We do
on?
have the best social slash media team in the league, in my humble opinion.
Yeah,
They work tirelessly, so they were probably ahead of that. But yeah, the way that Eric DaCosta and the Steve Bisciotti statement come out like immediately right after, they did not mess around.
yeah. I thought it was really special too. Not that players didn't do this for the other candidates and whatnot, but like a multitude of Chargers players like
Yeah.
instantly were like, you had Eric Weddle
Yeah.
that said something. You
Previous
had
Raven, Eric Weddle.
yeah, previous to every team, but Eric
Yeah,
Weddle
he's
still
been
regardless.
around.
But
He's a Chargers
he
guy.
was on the Chargers. Yeah, a very famous Chargers player. Tony Jefferson, current Chargers safety, said something
Previous
like
Raven.
there you go, previous Raven as well. Honestly, like a lot of players, and again, I know this does happen, but I just felt like it was really special to see that many players that quickly like posts on social media
Yeah.
about Jesse Minter and the reports coming in like how much they loved him and you could tell I mean the way that this Chargers defense has rebounded in the last two seasons under Minter like they've been
Hmm.
incredible and they've been in the playoffs both of those seasons obviously Jim Harbaugh has a big part in that, but Jesse Minter as well. And just to give some little stats here, before Jesse Minter came
Hmm.
over as Chargers DC, they were 30th in passing yards per game, 24th in points allowed with 23.4 per game, 249.8 passing yards, and 27th in yards per play, 5.5. Um, with the worst season of Derwin James's career. Now,
Hmm.
under 2 years with Jesse Minter in the building, fifth in passing yards per game with only giving up 193.4. Third points allowed, 19.9 per game to opponents. Seventh yards per play, 5.2. A sizable jump, but yeah. And back-to-back All Pros for Derwin James. So, I mean, we were
Yeah, he's
talking
got the
about
experience of coming in and flipping things around.
Yeah, we were talking about the Ravens getting back to the defensive identity under a defensive-minded coach, and I don't think there's anybody better. I think Anthony Weaver would have been the same, not the same, but I think he would have done a
Yeah.
great job as well. But I believe that Jesse Minter was the right hire. I think that I like Anthony Weaver on a more personal level, just because I think he's a great coach for the Dolphins. Seen him do work over there the past couple of seasons, but Jesse Minter is the guy, and I think it's a wonderful hire for the Ravens. He to me feels like he's like next Sean McVay in my opinion. That's kind of how I
Mm.
feel about the situation. He's
On
not
the
as
defensive
young.
side of the ball.
Yeah, he's not as young as Sean McVay, but I think he's that. I think he has that kind of mind. I think he has that kind of leadership. I think he's going to do really good stuff with the Ravens, if I'm being real.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting as well, like he is in his 40s and Harbaugh left when he was 63. I think that sometimes just having someone who's like a little bit more this close in age to the players, it helps like
Yeah.
connect with them on a personal level. I think it's going to re-energize the locker room. I think it will re-energize the defense because the drop off has been insane the last couple of years.
Hmm.
For them, they're probably feeling a bit demoralized. So having him coming in the building with that experience, and then obviously we'll see who comes in behind him in the coordinator positions. But
Hmm.
I think everyone's probably feeling pretty good. And I also saw like Chargers fans in the Ravens comments saying that they're gonna miss him too. And it's always good when the fans are like sad about it.
Yeah.
No one was celebrating, like, go on, take that guy out of it,
Hmm.
which they do sometimes. So
Oh yeah.
no, a lot of exciting stuff for Ravens fans.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, I honestly I didn't remember like the full resume. I didn't know the full resume, not didn't remember, but I didn't know the full resume that Jesse Minter has. I've
Hmm.
known him for the Michigan years and
Yeah.
and obviously he was with the Ravens before that, but like he's very experienced. He's well experienced. Yeah, I think he's the leader of man. I think he's gonna do a great job. He's going into a situation where you still have a very strong core of defensive players. Obviously, they're gonna have to figure out Marlon Humphrey, that situation. But like we were talking about before, you got our Darius Washington that's back and healthy again.
Hmm.
You got Kyle Hamilton, who's arguably the best safety in football. There's so much going on that side of the ball. First and foremost, he needs to fix that pass rush with the quickness that is going to be
Hmm.
like they need to go for some whoever's available. If if it's a Max Crosby, you go get that Max Crosby, is what I'm saying. So
Ravens fans wouldn't say no to that, that's for
I
sure.
don't think anybody would say no to Max Crosby joining anybody, any team. That dude's insane. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's gonna be like you're gonna have to give up quite a bit. But
Yes.
I'm just saying, like with the way that his situation was handled with the Raiders and the multiple rumors, all that yada
Hmm.
yada, all that. Like if he's even there's even an inkling that he's gonna be available, you swing at that immediately because Max Crosby would transform this defense
Yeah. And like we
completely.
were speaking about before with Nnamdi Madubuike maybe not coming back,
Yeah.
we really are going to miss a difference maker on that line and we need him. And I don't know what the situation with Carl Van Noy is. I can't remember if his contract goes up
I
this year.
believe he's a free agent in 2026. I think this is the
Yeah.
final year of his contract, and so he wasn't dynamic by any means, but he also
He was down
lost.
Madubuike.
Yeah, he lost his boy. So it's like, when you lose that core component and you're being double
Yeah.
teamed, like what else do you got? Because there's nobody else on not you know what I mean. There's not nobody else, but there's like
Yeah.
nobody else on that Ravens pass rush that teams needed to worry about when it was those two together on the
Yeah. Between
field.
the two of them, I think it's more of a younger position between those two. So
Yeah,
like those are usually the ones that people are going after. Hopefully Teddy Buchanan's going to get healthy back in time for next season, maybe later into the season. I don't know the severity of his injury. But yeah, bringing everyone back, kind of getting the roster back on track, seems like it's going to be their thing. I would like to see Carl Van Noy come back, maybe just for one more ride,
I think
if we
so.
can fill in that other side.
Yeah.
I think it's not great to completely disrupt the harmony of the line. Um, I can't remember if I read that Harbaugh was taking a few of the coaches, and I think the
So
defensive line coach is going with him to New York. It was one of the guys that he was looking at.
Potentially. So what I read, what I saw from Jeff Zrebiec in The Athletic is that there was a host of interviews that they approved for Harbaugh to interview, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to go over there.
Yeah.
They approved a lot of interviews. So we'll see how the coaching staff for Harbaugh, and then now with Minter coming in, who is he going to retain or not?
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of going back to the Teddy Buchanan thing,
Mm.
shout out to Teddy Buchanan. Incredible rookie linebacker.
Yeah.
Third in tackles still, even though he went down December 14th. Torn
Fourth
ACL,
round pick.
fourth round pick. He got all rookie honors with the PFWA, the Pro Football Writers of America. Huge honor for his first season. Um, so I think he is a fantastic player that could definitely be that kind of, that off the line, really quick linebacker that the Ravens definitely need for the pass rush. But unfortunately, when it comes to torn ACLs,
Can
it's
take a while.
usually a year recovery. So it really depends. Like I'll say this. So with Bradley Chubb tore his ACL, it took him longer than a year to recover from because he
Mm.
he got hit the last game of the regular season 2023, missed all of 2024. Not saying it's going to be the same situation, but the usual case is for torn ACLs, you're out for a full year, sometimes more. But Teddy Buchanan's very young, so the hope would be that he can bounce back and maybe come back a little bit past mid-season.
Mid-season, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be
Which is
ideal.
when it
Obviously,
starts counting, really starts counting. Like, obviously, every game counts, but like
right?
around that time, you're kind of
You're
aware of what's going on
separating.
in the
Yeah,
division, and you're
yeah.
like, so I would like to see him come back and have a good season. But always, again, when you come back off an injury, it's not always simple as getting back to your prime. So I think maybe we won't see him like really dominate until the year after. But who knows? He might come back and just get straight back into the swing of things.
Definitely. I mean, that would be the hope again. So you got three players that I'll just mention really quick. Trey Hendrickson is also one of those players that's now hurt, but was very disgruntled with the Bengals, and they gave him a 1 year deal. So
Yeah, yeah, I remember that situation.
it's still there. It's still, I'm imagining he's not going to want to come back to play for the Bengals. And so that's one option that the Ravens could look at. Joey Bosa is another one. I know he's older and he's also had his own injury history. Also, I highly doubt that this would happen, but Jalen Phillips, former
Mm,
Miami Dolphin, now on the Eagles, is also going to be a free agent in 2026. So I would fully expect that he gets a new contract, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I mean, some good names to pick from.
yeah, I mean, there's a ton there. That's a maybe a conversation for another time, but there's Khalil Mack is another one. I'm just spitting names out there. And hey, Khalil Mack, Jesse Minter, Chargers, Ravens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon that we flip and change between the charges.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
very
exactly.
interchangeable over there, so
Right,
that
right.
makes a lot of sense.
And also too, in the same situation as Derrick Henry, like Khalil Mack is older, but that dude has no quit and no slowdown in him. Like he's still
Mhm.
playing at a very high level for what where he is in age in terms of football,
There are some
football
players that
age.
just do that, they just
Yeah.
they just really do. They just get better with age, and maybe their prime years are behind them, but not for Derrick Henry. He's still smashing out those yards.
No, yeah, definitely not. Like he's still doing fantastic. Let me see. Yeah, I mean 5.5 sacks, four forced fumbles, like and
I
he's
mean, it's better than most of what's going on that line again
yeah, he's
right now.
34. I mean, yeah, I mean you go for a older vet like that, you bring in that younger potentially draft whoever you draft or
Yeah.
whatever, and then they complement one another. But anyway, we're getting way off topic. Back to Jesse Minter. It's not
Jesse
off topic,
Minter.
it's
I
on
mean,
topic.
look, he's a defensive guy.
Yeah,
He needs the suggestions
yeah, yep, yep.
suggested for him.
Please call us, Jesse Minter. We have so many
Yeah, don't
ideas.
worry, we got it. You don't
You
even have to
relax.
think. You don't even
You
have to think. You've just
relax.
rocked up to Baltimore and we've got it covered. Don't worry.
No, honestly, like this is really exciting. I think
I
I
think
think
so
for the
too.
Ravens organization to go back to that kind of defensive identity that they built for decades, like we spoke about it last time, and that 2008 defense that wrecked everybody and wrecked the Dolphins, which was very sad at the time for me, but it's all good. And now, you know, um, the past couple of seasons, same kind of situation. This season, not as great. The season was a very big drop off on both
No.
sides of the ball. But again, you look at the injuries, you look at everybody. Everybody seemed to be playing with some sort of something. Even Marlon Humphrey was taken out of the game a few times there at the end.
Yeah,
Kyle
Nate
Hamilton,
Wiggins got messed
Nate
up a couple
Wiggins.
times.
Yeah, so I mean, like you're looking at all those injuries, and especially with Lamar Jackson too, and it just impacts everything. That the
Yeah.
the the great thing of the Ravens roster is it's good all the way through, but like obviously we talked about this before, those second and third tier players are not where they need to be at. So
Yeah.
Jesse Minter's new job, working alongside Eric DeCosta, is to get those second and third tier players, get that depth really, really back to where it needs to be, and get back this team back to being a championship caliber place.
Yeah, I do remember like obviously preseason is preseason, it is what it is, but like I remember watching preseason this year and being like, this defense is scary. So if this
Mhm.
defense is scary, what's the starting defense going to look like? And obviously it didn't work out that way. So I think that there are those guys there. And it's the same situation with the offensive line. Like obviously Daniel Falele was a big point of contention for a lot of Ravens fans. I don't know if we've really got to see the potential of what's there. And
Mhm.
I don't know if like, and I've said it a lot before, I've obviously like I'm not a defensive coordinator, but I don't know that it was really whatever was going on wasn't there because the
Mhm.
roster really hasn't changed that much. Like
Yeah.
we've not lost any really big names over the last few years. And going back to like the Mike McDonald years when we were like the best defense in the league in many categories, I don't really know if it was more of a coordination thing or a communication thing or like what changed.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really is just going to take someone coming in and kind of fixing the chemistry, fixing the scheme, fixing something. But I guess we're going to learn really kind of this season what the issue was and if it is a case of just fixing up the front guys and seeing what happens. But we've never been great on like the third and long situation. That's always a just a thing that takes us out, especially like in the winter like seasons.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
there are a lot of things that need to be cleaned up,
yeah,
really.
yeah. I think it's those over the middle passes. Like every
Yeah,
single time you're watching, because they put Kyle Hamilton closer to the line of scrimmage,
yeah,
and he's done wonders there, getting sacks. Like he's up in there, but then behind him, that's where it gets messy, and that's where like you've seen every defense carve up the Ravens right there in the middle of the field. Those yards to the catch, you gotta tighten all that up. You gotta have people with that speed to go and close that gap to
yeah.
even eliminate those bigger gains. That's the main thing here, and obviously that starts with the secondary. Obviously when you're going those deep cover things, sure, yeah, but I mean like that middle of the field aspect of the Ravens defense, I feel is lacking quite a bit. But
Hmm.
that also is the reason for that is the lack of pass rush. You can't do
Yeah.
that if there's no pass rush. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
pass rush. There's pass rush. You got to get the ball out quick, and that's where you can just kind of like hang back a little and swat the ball down, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think Kyle right now has too much on his shoulders. He really needs to kind
100%.
of be like given grace to kind of just do his job and do it well. He does all jobs brilliant. He can do it, but it's not fair on him, and he really should have that time to like have the spotlight and shine in where he's placed. Nate Wiggins is great. I'm excited to see him develop. I think he's really fast. He's really sticky. He's got better this season at kind of sticking with his target. And I think, there was some communication issues where I noticed some guys weren't in the place that they were meant to be in.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That's obviously going to be something that they have to figure out. And they've mentioned it before in presses. Like I remember them saying, like,
Mhm.
especially Kyle Hamilton has spoken about the communication sometimes just isn't where it's supposed to be. And those are all fixable things. It's not like
Yeah.
you've got these guys out here that don't know what they're doing. They're all
No.
great players. We're the team with the most Pro Bowl players of the year, like combined with I think maybe the 49ers. So like we have the guys, it's just
Yeah.
getting the scheme to do it. And I think Jesse Minter coming in, kind of fixing that defense, bringing in maybe another great defensive mind to sit beside him. Whoever he brings on offense, Mike McDaniel, it won't be you. I'm sorry, you have to go over to Los Angeles. You got to enjoy the sunshine. You don't get to come over to Baltimore where it's freezing cold. I'm excited to see who he brings in and kind of makes the use of what he's got.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the whole Chargers Baltimore connection, Zach
It's
Orr
everywhere.
is going to be interviewing for the empty DC job there with the Chargers.
Hey,
So,
look, I mean, I'm not surprised. And now, hey, look, we got another avenue up the road with New York because I'm sure John Harbaugh's going to be opening the doors to maybe have some little trades with us as well. So
yeah,
we've got three ways of going.
yeah.
Um,
So,
there are options.
yeah, the introductory press conference will be held on Thursday. At that point, I will be on a boat and I will not be here, so I will miss most of that, all of that. But we will talk about it the following week. That is a conversation for then. But the point being, we're going to find out, which I think he will, is whether or not Jesse Minter will be calling plays on defense. I highly expect that he will, but
Yeah, I'd like to see him do that.
that's not always the case with every head coach. Sometimes they defer to their coordinators. Most of the time, they don't. I would not think that Jesse Minter won't be calling plays. I believe he will be calling plays on defense, at which point he will bring in, as you said, that other defensive mind to sit alongside him as the
Mhm.
defensive coordinator and to help him guide that side of the ball. And then you got to go for that big fish as an offensive coordinator. Obviously, right now there are several. Right now there is, you got Joe Brady. They did
Yeah.
interview Joe Brady for the head coach position, but hey, if that's not the case anymore, not if that's not the case anymore. So the big if is if hey, they're like we still want to bring you on, we want to give you the offensive coordinator position.
Yeah, and
Um,
now with McDermott out the building, he's not got a
yeah,
cushion to go back to, so he's out there looking. Though I'm sure he's a great candidate for another team, but those teams are slowly getting smaller.
they are. I mean,
Those
you still got the
opportunities are
Raiders, you got
getting
the Browns, who else? The Cardinals? No, did they hire somebody? I,
at this point.
this coaching cycle has been insane, so I'm like
I
losing
think they
track.
did, didn't they? Didn't they take
No, I don't think
no,
they
maybe not. No, no, no,
because
sorry, I'm
it
getting
was
confused.
the Giants first, then it was the Titans, then it was the Dolphins.
Falcons took
Oh no, yeah,
Stefanski.
yeah, it was Giants, Falcons, Dolphins, Titans, and now the Ravens. So we still have five more teams that are looking for a head coach.
Cardinals are still seeking.
Cardinals, Raiders, Buffalo Bills,
Browns.
Browns, and Steelers. Those are the five.
Yeah, gosh.
We
Anthony
forgot about the
Weaver.
Steelers.
And well, hopefully he goes.
I think it's going to be Anthony Weaver. I think it's going to be Anthony Weaver for the Steelers for sure. And that
I'd
makes a lot
rather
of
him go to
sense.
LA. Jim, lock him up, lock the doors, don't let him out, please. Give him a whole lot of money, convince him not to go over there.
Right.
I wouldn't like to see him on the other side of the ball, knowing what he knows about the
Yeah. He
Ravens.
has very a lot of knowledge of the Ravens
He's got that intimate
organization.
knowledge, and I don't want to see him on the other side. But
And like I said,
that's going to
yeah,
be our new, Hobbs and Tomlin situation.
could
Who's
be. I mean, and like I said, he's a great coach. I fully expect him to be a great head coach. He's already been a great coordinator. So we'll see.
yeah,
There's still a lot to go on that side of things with those other five teams. But the candidates are starting to honestly like going back to the Steelers really quickly. I'm a little shocked, or I wouldn't also be shocked if they brought in Mike McCarthy as well because they did interview Mike McCarthy. So
Hmm.
anyway, that's that. But yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting for Ravens football. You got Jesse Minter coming in, going to rebuild that coaching staff, and because the benefit of all of these head coaches that are now out and all these teams seeking, all of those coordinators are now available as well.
Yep.
Obviously, I we everyone should expect that Minter is going to bring on some Charger staffers, or whatever whoever they allow to interview. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who he brings on as defensive coordinator, especially offensive coordinator. I think because of his defensive mind, he's got to really hit a home run with that offensive coordinator, because
Yeah.
that offensive coordinator has a very, very big responsibility in guiding Lamar Jackson.
And
Um,
Derek Henry.
and Derrick Henry and all that entire side of the ball, which matters a great deal. To this
Yeah.
team, especially Lamar Jackson. That this coordinator has got to work with Lamar Jackson in a very special way. That's why I brought up Joe Brady. He was mentoring, Josh Allen. You go from one superstar quarterback to, hey, I'm gonna go mentor Lamar Jackson now.
And it's great because we visit the Bills far more frequently than I would like to see them every year. And so, if he's got that knowledge of Josh Allen, I'm not going to say no to having him around.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would have been great to see Mike McDaniel with Baltimore. I think that would have been
He would have
also,
done so well. Jim,
yeah,
I
and
feel like
especially,
John got on the phone and was like, keep him away.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely, especially with Derrick Henry and his run plays and stuff. Like it would have been great, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. He's going to the Chargers. Zach Orr might be going to the Chargers too. But like I said, Mentor's got to get that really strong offensive coordinator. And we'll see what happens. I can't say right now who that will be. We'll see.
No, I'm excited. And then I really hope he feels welcome and enjoys all that Baltimore has to offer. Like the team means a lot to the city. Football and baseball means so much to the city. And so, him getting fully absorbed into the city and really engaging with them, they'll show the love back. And so I'm excited for him. And EDC even said he doesn't want to do this again for another 18 years. So Minter, you're here and you're not going out the door, so you really better show up unless you give us two losing seasons in a row. Then I think
Right.
yeah,
I mean, he even said, Bishotti said 6 seasons to get to the Super Bowl, which I think is very fair because most teams are like, you have 3 years to turn this thing around. If we don't see improvement, you're out. And some teams go,
yep.
nope, you get 1 year and then you're done. So I don't know, but obviously this is the fourth coach in franchise history, only the fourth. So there's going to be some leeway there, but also the expectations are there too, but which I think obviously Minter can handle. And
Hmm.
we both talked about how he would be a great candidate. He's that next young dynamic coach, I feel. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited. This is gonna
we
be,
got a good one.
yeah, definitely. I I'm a little upset that I will be missing the press conference because I definitely want to hear what he has to say. But it is what it is. Yeah.
We will see. I'm sure he'll have. I'm excited to see his energy, really. I'm so excited to see how it fits in with EDC and Bishotti and Ozzy and everyone. And I'd like to see how he like interacts with Lamar. I think Lamar's going to really engage with him. And, I'm excited for like having a young, fresh energy around the building that I think that the guys really need. So you're our guy, Minter. Welcome to the city. Welcome to I think we'll give him. I'm worried that fans are going to react very quickly if he starts slow. But people should give him grace. Give him at least a season. Give him 2 seasons. See how he does. And I don't know. People get very bad. I saw people very upset that it wasn't Brian Flores, and I was like, guys, give him a chance. Let him at least get on the field.
So here's a little interesting breaking news. Philip Rivers is going to be interviewing for the Buffalo Bills head coach job.
Come on, Philip Rivers. Keep that dream alive. I love that. I love
It's so
that.
funny enough, little name drop here. I spoke to Eli Manning the other morning, and that interview's up on Newsweek. You guys can go check that out. But I asked him, I was like, "Hey, would you been able to do what Philip Rivers did?" And he's like, "No, not at all." So anyway,
He kept
look,
the dream alive for them. I
he
love
did.
that for him. Loved it for him.
Yeah, so
So
I mean, he's been the St. Michael Catholic High School coach, came out of retirement, played with the Colts, did very well. Unfortunately, the Colts did not make it to the playoffs, and now he's interviewing for the Buffalo Bills head coach job, which is kind of wild in my opinion, but hey,
I mean, look, crazier things have happened around the NFL. So, I love him having his little revival moment. He did well. He did carry them well. He kept the dream alive for a little bit. But yeah, no, love that.
it would be insane.
It would be the most
Insane.
random plot twist.
Yeah, if he was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, like out of nowhere, like you just played and now oh, all right. Anyway, so look,
Tune into the Buffalo Bills.
look, yeah, right. We're gonna start a Buffalo Bills podcast just to talk about this ascent of Philip Rivers. I love Philip Rivers. Like I think he's a great player. I
Yeah.
was so not starstruck. I was so enamored by the idea of him coming out of retirement and nearly leading the Colts to a playoff berth there. I love this
It's
for him.
loosely related, right? Charges,
Yeah,
Jesse
yeah.
Minter. It
Jesse
connects.
Minter, Philip Rivers, connections kind
Philip
of there.
Rivers, hey, offensive coordinator, you want to come
We were just
over?
talking about the you were just talking about the Ravens and the Bills. They face each other a lot, so there's a chance that Philip Rivers could be that guy.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah, no, really, why not?
At this point, why not? Why not add another candidate to the pool? There's enough
I
already.
mean, yeah, that's wild. Anyway, Jesse Minter is here. Philip Rivers might be in
Might be in Buffalo.
Buffalo. I don't know. Next, I would expect that Minter is going to get started on his coaching staff in this coming week.
Sure.
But like I brought up before, I will be gone from Tuesday to Tuesday. I will be on vacation. I will be not doing this and not doing a whole lot
Be
except for
minding his
sipping,
business.
minding my own business. But I will be back to talk all about football. We will be recording one more episode on Monday. It will be released sometime next week. And that will be it for me just for a week, just a small week. I need to unplug and go drink some tropical
Decompress.
drinks on a beach because it's been a crazy football season and even crazier because all of the head coach changes.
There's too much going on. Maybe by then they'll fully have padded out all of the head coach situations. I don't think so.
I don't
It's
think
gonna
so
keep
either, to be
going on.
honest. Yeah, I honestly don't think it's going to be settled by then, but we'll see. But yeah, Jesse Minter is here. We'll be back to talk all about that on Monday. Maybe we'll have some more news about who he's bringing on staff or who's going where. All the Chargers and Ravens connectivity is probably going to keep happening.
Hmm.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been Roundtable Ravens, episode 8, the Jesse Minter hire. Yeah, we'll be back next week.